Greetings from parts unknown. This is Sonny Sofrito, and I'm joined by the self-proclaimed GM of Yep, I Like Wrestling, Teddy Alexandro.
The greatest GM of Yep, I Like Wrestling. I thought we discussed this already.
Yeah, okay. And I am also joined by the Blue-Haired Diva.
Yes.
That's me.
Alex, the great, the queen of the ring. And we're here to bring you episode 0 of Yep, I Like Wrestling podcast. Something new that we're doing. And episode 0 is basically us giving you guys a insight to who we are so that you'll know what to kind of expect of us going forward when we start doing our weekly shows. We're going to be doing a little bit of a recap of the weekend wrestling and discussing it and giving our very unique insights from our perspectives. Yeah.
First off, this is my first time meeting Alex. You're very pretty.
Thank you.
I don't normally like people prettier than I am, but I'm gonna learn to love you. That's all I would say.
So
Well, you're very tall, so
I am.
thanks.
So, the tallest man in the world. Yes,
Make
that's
up
me.
for both of our heights. So.
You and Sonny, actually. I make up for everyone's height.
So if I stand on Alex's shoulders,
You'd still miss me by 3 inches.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
just-
Jesus,
Yeah.
I'm not that short, am I?
Well, we come in like small, medium, large, so it's great.
See, there you
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
but
We're like the Russian dolls, you know, the little dolls that are inside of each other.
you know what? You saying that, I don't even want to know where you're going
I
with
just said
that.
inside of each other. We're
Exactly.
only, 2 minutes into the
Yeah,
program.
bro. Oh, my
That's the kind of show
God.
we're going to have
You already
today.
know where
Jesus
we're.
You know where this is
Christ.
going. No
Yeah.
PG for us. No PG for Yep. No.
Yeah,
Attitude era.
yeah. No, there's going to be a lot of PG. Please, God. There's going to be a lot of PG in this
Don't
one.
ever give me a live microphone. That's your first mistake.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So, anyway, so to start things off, let's kind of give everybody an idea of the type of wrestling fans we are. So, let's start off with Alex. I was about to say Alexandra, but
Don't give off my government, please.
no.
I'm in
The
hiding.
reason why is because he's Teddy Alexander,
Oh.
Alexandro. So it's like it's Alex and Alex and Sonny.
Well, there's the name of the new show right there. Alex and Alex.
Alex.
See?
Yeah, Alex and Alex.
Like
Yeah.
it.
It's like Alex and Ani, but without the bracelets. So, yeah, I know that store really too well because I bought mad stuff from there. all the ladies in my life basically have Alex and Ani bracelets. But anyway, that's another thing. So
It's a different podcast.
that's a different podcast. That's the Where You Spend Your Money podcast. So,
Damn.
where you spend your money and keep your ladies happy. So, start off with Alex, the Blue-Haired Diva.
Yeah.
So, who's your favorite wrestler growing up?
Growing up, Shawn Michaels.
Ooh.
Shawn Michaels
The
is my favorite
Heartbreak
wrestler.
Kid.
But also, I had a love for Shawn Michaels and I had a deep fear for The Undertaker. So it was a mix, split down right down the middle.
So okay. So when they had the Shawn Michaels retirement match, where in your childhood were you at? Where were you feeling? Were you like pro?
The retirement match?
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Okay. How old was I? Probably teenager, right? Well, when I saw that, I was very much an adult, so I was rooting for both. But when it was the casket match back in the day,
Yeah.
I didn't know who to root for because I wanted to root for Shawn Michaels, but I had this like fascination with The Undertaker, so I was like hiding behind my couch, like, oh my god, I don't know, somebody bury somebody. But that WrestleMania match, I was split right down the middle. Because it was the Streak versus the Career. I didn't know who I wanted to last. Yeah, I was split.
You sound like you still split.
I am still split. I am. I really am.
Like when the replays come on, are you like torn? Like, not this shit again.
Torn? No, I just get goosebumps again. That was such a good match.
Yeah, it was.
Such a good match. It was probably like in this decade, probably like top 3 best good match. Probably number 1, honestly,
Okay.
in my heart.
First or second match? The
The first.
first one.
The first.
Okay.
Yeah. The
When he
first
came
one.
out in basically his white Undertaker
When it was
attire.
like Heaven versus Hell.
Yeah,
That was the absolute best one. I actually saw it the other day. Have you guys seen it lately?
I have seen
Yeah.
it. Maybe about a month ago I watched it.
Okay.
Still holds up. Still so good. And the story that they tell in the ring is fantastic.
Yeah.
Still so good.
Definitely. How about you, Teddy?
My favorite or my favorite Undertaker moment?
Your favorite growing up?
My favorite growing up, believe it or not, was Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper. Any type of shit stirrer. Surprise, surprise. I've always loved them growing up. And then I had my Undertaker phase. And then once the Attitude Era hit, it was all about Sable. I wouldn't care who else was on TV. I was watching for Sable. That was it.
Okay.
Like, yeah. That was just, yeah.
All
It
right.
was.
I remember as a kid, I would like run around the house with my hands on my boobs after that moment with her. And my dad's like, "All right, you need to chill. Wrestling is not real," and that's why he killed it for me. I'm like, "No, it's real. My tits are everywhere." I'm like 6 years old doing that.
Jeez.
That's great. That's my fondest moment of like memory of Sable.
Sable had a
And-
profound, yes.
And so you know, this is going to be a taste of where we're going to be going with this podcast.
You're welcome.
Exactly. Basically, people, when they start hearing this, they're going to be like, all right, hold on, let me see who this girl is.
We're gonna go through my Instagram like, "Show me your tits with your hands."
Oh my god.
It's okay. I get worse right now, so it's fine.
You're gonna get Photoshop handprints on your chest.
Just Photoshop my face, like on Sable's
body.
Yeah.
You've got 25 new followers just
I
then,
will-
just
Yeah.
from saying that.
Somebody Photoshop it, and I'll autograph it when we meet up.
Wow, you know what? Damn, that just turned into 50 followers right now.
Pretty much. Yeah.
50?
I know, but I'm talking about within the
Oh,
10
here.
seconds as this
Yeah.
is being heard. You're gonna have so many people
Yeah,
just
they're
saying.
definitely wiping the lotion off and just like taking note on that.
Shout out to
welcome.
Again.
Shout out to Rita Mero. Like, Sable just, really.
Yeah, Rena Mero. Even
Oh,
though,
yeah.
even though, you know what, when it comes to the ladies, I think the hottest one to me was always Trish Stratus.
She was. She came at the right time, but there have been hotter women.
Who?
Sable, for one.
Nah, I can't-
Candice
I
Michelle was
can't-
I
hotter.
was gonna
can't-
say Candice Michelle.
I can't get behind Sable. I can't get there's something about Sable that it was just. Even though I know Sable and Candice Michelle and Trish all have implants, Trish seemed the most natural. There was
The most natural implant.
Yeah,
Okay, yes,
it was just the
that-
it was
okay,
the
yes.
it was the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
it was the best boob job of them all.
Yeah. Hashtag natural boobies all the way.
Exactly.
Forever.
So it was just like she just had like a natural. She just came off as naturally hot, even though some of it was enhanced, as opposed to like Sable seemed a little too enhanced.
Yes.
Like it was like it just didn't go. And this is me, but I remember looking at Candice Michelle and just kind of looking at her chest and saying, they look a little bit lopsided.
Oh no.
Really?
Yeah, it was maybe it was just a bad, but there was something about it. It just, I mean, even damn, if I have to really go down, like I really like Lita, but Lita didn't have any hips. Like I really broke. Yeah, I was really.
China, WrestleMania 17 around that time, she was looking pretty good
She
too.
was.
Yeah.
Her final WrestleMania, she did look
Yeah.
quite tasty.
Oh yeah, because she was very mannish, and then
Oh, yes.
like you ever seen Beyond the Mat, the documentary from back then?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Seeing her looking so mannish, but then she's like getting a manicure and pedicure, and her voice, because I never heard her voice before,
That's
and
That
right.
high-pitched voice she always did, yes.
and I was like, what?
Yeah.
That was like the beginning of DX when it was like Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and her.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Where she was
exactly.
looking a little mannish, and then she got plastic surgery, and then posed for Playboy, and then
That was more than
Eddie
just plastic
Guerrero
surgery.
from
that was more
Looker.
like reconstruction surgery, because
Yeah,
like her
definitely.
jaw was like,
definitely different for sure.
yeah.
Well, she had broken her jaw, they wired it shut, and she lost all that weight because she couldn't eat. So her body started to change differently.
Oh, that's what it
So
was?
that's how she lost the mannish physique.
That's right.
And yeah.
Damn, I
During
didn't-
that whole like
Right.
sexual chocolate thing.
Oh
yeah.
damn, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, with Mark Henry. Yeah, that's
She
right.
was on like a
Forgot about
liquid
that.
diet of some sort, and so she started to lose a lot of muscle, and it worked out for her. It worked
Okay.
for her.
definitely worked out for her. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
Oh,
When's her
yeah.
birthday?
Damn.
Yeah.
Is it?
Look at you. Your wrestling facts.
She's
My
like an
word.
encyclopedia.
I'm on your level. Don't worry. I'm on your level.
Okay, good.
I don't know. I feel like you're gonna be surpassing my level, so I don't know. We're gonna see about that.
It's okay. We'll school you.
Yeah, it feels that way. I'm gonna be straight up. There was a time that I checked out of wrestling and then checked back in. Then I checked out again. So like I checked out post WrestleMania 4,
Okay.
WrestleMania 4, 5.
Okay.
I'm dating myself right now.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 4. I think I was 2, but I mean, who was in?
Jesus Christ, fam.
Was it in color? That's
Damn.
all I wanted to know. Was it in color? We'll say
I believe Color just
might
came
be
out, right?
just recently.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
So-
It was in most households, not all, but yeah, it was in
that's
many.
Right.
Yeah.
So who was your childhood favorite?
So, I'm gonna go in two different directions. Childhood favorite for me was two different guys. Hulk Hogan. I was a Hulkamaniac.
Okay.
Taking your vitamins, yeah.
Yep, taking my vitamins, saying my prayers, all that stuff. And Tito Santana.
Strike Force. Yeah. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
but that was before Strike Force. It was because Tito
Matador.
No, even before that. I'm talking about when. Oh damn, I'm dating myself again. But
Yep. Go ahead. Keep going.
so he had this ill feud with Greg the Hammer Valentine, and
Greg
it was
Valentine.
and it was
The
so
driest hair ever. But go ahead.
and it was so vicious and so. And I mean, they really went at it all time and time again, to the point that I think Greg the Hammer Valentine took out Tito for a minute, and then when he came back, I marked out huge when he all of a sudden, it was like he had been training and he learned how to do the figure four. Meanwhile, in retrospect, I'm like, shit, everybody could do the figure four. But, him doing the figure four was like, oh, yes, he got it. It was like the equalizer that he finally found. So, Tito Santana, because it was someone that I felt like I could relate to, because I used to be like, oh, I think he's Puerto Rican like me.
yeah.
Even though he wasn't. I'm not.
Mexican?
No, he was Puerto Rican, wasn't he?
I don't think he is.
No?
Mexican, I think.
I don't know. We're gonna have to look that up while we continue
Yeah.
talking. Even though there was somebody before my time that I found out about after that was still wrestling at the time, which was Pedro Morales, which
Yes.
I was like, oh, cool, but I just couldn't really relate to the dude because he was never on the mic anyway. But then Hulk Hogan, and before that whole racist shit came out, I remember meeting him at Comic-Con, and I was just like I felt like a starstruck kid. That even my girlfriend was just like, I've never seen him like this. Like it was horrible. I was like, oh my
He
god.
zapped you back to your childhood.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Brought back memories of my dad. It was like crazy. I was like, But then after that whole racist shit came out, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, well,
Never mind. I take all these feelings back.
Yeah. Basically, that was exactly how I felt. I was like, I can't fuck with that dude. But those are the two growing up. When I was very little. Later on, damn, I was a huge fan of Sting. Huge fan of Dusty Rhodes.
the American Dream.
Yeah, I loved Roddy Piper when he turned. When he turned face, I was like, yes.
I mean, even when he was, a face, he was still sort of a heel. That's why
Yeah,
I loved
but-
about him. He
but-
has the uncanny ability to piss off anybody.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is a catalyst for my life now. Like,
Exactly. I was never a Bret Hart dude.
No, he was so boring.
See, I was never a Bret Hart person, but when I had the chance to meet him at Comic-Con, you would have thought that I was. Like, I was freaking out. And he was, like, drawing on the table. And it was really cool. And he was very nice, I would say that. But I should have worn my Shawn Michaels shirt that day, for sure.
Shout out to the Montreal Screwjob. Yeah.
Hey, Bret screwed
Years
Bret.
this year.
Yeah, it was the anniversary.
See.
Yeah.
So crazy. I
Shawn
remember
Michaels
watching
looks
that
pretty
live.
good.
Yeah.
Bret Hart does not. The years have not been good to Brent.
So like
No,
that was
not at all.
that was a time when I was actually checked out. When the Montreal School Job happened, I was not in. Then I got back into wrestling a little time after that. Then I was in it until, because you know what it was? I was actually watching a lot of WCW. I
okay.
watched a lot of because I was a big fan of No,
Sting.
Dusty Rhodes, Sting. Always hated Flair, but you know, realizing now is like it was a hate love because he was so good as a heel.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
I never watched one episode of WCW growing up. Not one single one.
are you serious?
Yeah.
I was always a WWF fan, and no, I didn't start to like Ric Flair until he came to the WWE, and you know, as a co-owner.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I became such a Flair mark that I bought all these old WCW videos, and I learned how to do the walk and the woo and all this stuff, and I made my nephews watch it, and I taught them. So it was sort of like after WCW folded.
Okay.
Then I became a Ric Flair fan, but I never watched it growing up. And to this day, I have never watched an episode of NXT. And
NXT,
I've
wow.
never watched NXT, and people tell me it's the best on. I've never watched one episode of NXT.
Oh wow.
Not one. Yeah.
See, I'd say if you're gonna watch NXT, like go back. I'd say start. I don't know. Probably start right before that first Brooklyn takeover, because that was just when it was so good. But I have to agree with you. I never saw a Monday Night Nitro.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. Growing up, I had two older brothers, and in the living room was WWF, Monday Night Raw, and then in his room would be WCW. And I would try to go back and forth, but he's like, "Get out of here! You're my younger sister. Piss off."
I just couldn't get a hold of it.
You know what's so crazy? And I was watching WCW, a lot of it, I guess because of the nostalgia aspect of it, because they had so many of the wrestlers I had liked when I was younger.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, Bischoff, you know, trying to spoil WWF at the time by saying their results and everything else, actually made me say, hey, you know what, check out what's going on Raw.
Right, that's what happened when Mick Foley
There's
won
that
the
famous
championship.
story. Yeah, that famous story.
Yeah, so like I actually started tuning on to WWF because they did that. So it's kind of weird that and you know, the combination of that and everybody talking about, because like when I first turned on to see The Rock and Stone Cold, I was like, all right, what is this? I didn't get it, but then as I started watching, I'm like, oh, these characters are pretty dope.
Yeah,
Pretty original.
Shout out to Dwayne Johnson, who's doing great right about now. Wow.
he's doing
He's
well
so
better
that's
off.
a rock I would love to go rock climbing on, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, shout out to Dwayne Johnson.
PG.
I met him once. I met him at the WWF store in Times Square.
Okay. Oh, the WWF
Yes.
store. I spent
Alright.
so
Wish it
much
was
money
still
there.
So I got a fun.
Shout out to the Hard Rock Cafe, because that's what the
Yeah.
name of it is now.
So you guys know I was doing a lot of club promoting for a very long time.
Uh-huh.
One of the spots I did was The World, which was the WWF restaurant.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And we did so many parties that, like, it's funny because I always call it like my most successful failure, because we used to bring in people like crazy, but our overhead was so freaking high because it was unionized that we would leave there and be like, yeah, I didn't make shit. But anyway, but the whole thing is that I had so much fun there because we had wrestlers come through and just hang out. Dude, like Batista came to one of the parties at one point. Rey Mysterio without his mask. Melina. Wait, was it Melina? I think it was Melina. It was like Ruthless Aggression era. We had like a lot of those guys come through just to hang out in their private VIP section. But then whenever there was, because you know the security that's there the days of the nightclub was also there for any other time of the day. So like if there was like a special signing or whatever, I can always dip in because they're not gonna stop me. I'm with them on the weekends.
Right.
So I shook hands with Vince McMahon one time leaving.
Oh my God.
Shane,
Vinnie Mac.
Mick Foley.
Terry Reynolds once flirted with me at WWF New York.
No way.
Yes, at an autograph signing. I bought her a T-shirt that said Diva. And she looked me up and down and she says, my, aren't you a long, tall drink of water? And my nephew was with me. He must have been about 10. And he gives me this like... So, although I have no interest in picking up Terry Reynolds, my nephew was with me, so I had to put on a show as if I was trying to pick up Terry Reynolds. So I had to put on the show. And I was like, wow, you thirsty? That was the best I could come up with. And yeah, that was the best I could come up with. You know, I'm sure Terry knew what the deal was. The only one who didn't know what the deal was my poor nephew. Shout out to Christian. How are you, darling? But yeah, she totally flirted with me, and That was my WWF New York experience. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I have plenty of this. Yeah, okay. So,
That's the best.
yeah, that's a story. That's a story. So, moving on. So, as far as what is your favorite type of angle? You know, is it something where you have the David and Goliath story, where is the underdog trying to overcome? Do you like the brutal matches that is just like they're just going balls to the wall on it?
I got you.
Like, start off with Teddy. What's yours?
I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but this won't be the first time that I've pissed people off. Any type of backstage impromptu catfight, I'm not too much for, like, okay, women in the ring, great. They've come a long way. Shout out to Charlotte Flair. I miss the days of a good catfight. ECW catfight was my favorite. I'm talking about thongs and high heels and Francine rolling around. That shit used to drive me crazy. I have 7 nephews, and we used to watch it coming up, and it would pandemonium would ensue when there was a catfight. And for a while, WWE used to do that. The girls just pulling at each other's hair back there. I fucking love that shit. So anytime, and the last one to really do it was Lana and Summer Rae. Do you remember when they would get at each other in that catfighting? Like
when they were fighting over Fandango?
Fandango, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was Rusev, because Summer Rae was dressed as Lana.
Right.
They were fighting.
Oh, that's right, because
That's
that was when Lana was with Ziggler for a minute,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay.
And this was the first time Lana had ever gotten physical, and she still had the power suit on, and she took off the heels, and I was like, oh shit. I grew up in the Bronx. I know when a girl takes the heels off, we're about to get some shit. And they had this count fight outside the ring, and I remember cheering, and my boyfriend's like, shut up, that's the stupidest thing ever. But it's like, I miss those days, and they did it for about 3 weeks straight. Just the fighting. I think Summer Rae hit her with a fish one time, and I fucking love that shit. Like, I love shit like that. I absolutely do.
Alex, how about you?
Oh man, I love a good underdog story, but I feel like underdog stories can only happen like once, maybe twice a decade. Like the Daniel Bryan storyline was perfect.
Yeah.
I wasn't too keen on the Rey Mysterio one, but I still got behind it because I love a good underdog story. I do have to say I'm glad that we're past the cat fights. Although when the storyline calls for it, like the Lana and Summer Rae, I can laugh for it. You know, I can laugh a bit. But I'm so glad we are past the bra and panties and we're actually doing main eventing like Hell in a Cell matches and
I love it
the
too.
Royal Rumble.
I love it too. But I love bra and panties, evening gowns, swimming pools, paddle on a pole. I would be at my team. The snow bunny matches, the chocolate pudding matches. I miss Dawn Marie in a chocolate pudding match. I miss those. I love that. I absolutely love it. But when it calls for it.
When it calls for it,
Like
when
if
it
two
calls
guys
for it,
are in
I
the
can get
ring,
behind it as well.
If two guys are in the ring fighting and their 2 managers are on the outside and they lock up, I like that.
yeah. I like that
Okay.
too.
So you like a sloppy fight, in other words.
I do.
He's from the Bronx, so he likes when it gets
do.
a little dirty. It's a little
I
bit
like
dirty.
two girls settling their differences in 30 seconds. I fucking love that shit. Don't put Lana in a 3-minute match against Naomi, because now I have to pretend that Naomi can't whoop that ass.
So like all you missing is like the Vaseline on the face and
yes!
Yeah, that's true.
Yes!
That's
And the
true.
Spanish curse words. That's what
And
I
that
like.
classic catfight song. Remember that catfight song back in the day?
It was a catfight song?
There was about to be a what?
Girl fight.
Girl fight.
That's
There we
yes.
go. Girl
Oh yeah, I
fight.
thought so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking
That
of
was a
catfight,
good- that was a good
my
one.
favorite soundbite ever is Joey Styles screaming catfight on ECW. It used to be my ringtone, not on this phone, but it used to be. Look, that whole catfight. You can't beat that.
Yo,
Beat that.
cat fight as a ringtone. That shit is.
It was.
It was
that
good,
that is
yeah.
special.
I had his "Oh my God" as my text tone. So
See?
anybody even text me, it's like
Oh,
"Oh
the
my
good
God."
old days. The good old days. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I like any angle as long as I'm a huge mark. So as long as like the story is good and I can mark out appropriately, I'm all for it. Honestly.
Okay, like you know what's crazy? One of the stories that was told in the ring that I still think about because I just thought it was so dope was that Triple H versus Undertaker match with Shawn Michaels as the referee.
Yeah.
That was so good.
When at the end of the match, where it's like they just went at it, and like Triple H is just like, I've given you all that I can. You know what? Suck it. Where he does a chop block, and it was like he was like, you know what? You're gonna take me out, but you know what? You're not taking me out without a fight. And he did suck it, and then the match ended. And it was like, I mean, the part after that preceded it, where they went back and carried him to the back. That was dope too. But that last, like, man, F you, man.
Yeah, and that was really good too, because it almost seemed like he was like defending Shawn Michaels, like his friend.
Yeah.
And that was in that match. That was good too, because Shawn Michaels was the referee and hit the Undertaker with the
Sweet Chin music.
Sweet Chin music. Yeah. And then that pinfall was the pinfall where he kicked out right at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was amazing, and that pop was just so good. Yeah, that match was really good. That angle was
Taker
good
can
too.
always bring. I just watched Flair versus Shawn Michaels, Flair's retirement.
Oh.
Because I watched ESPN's 30 for 30,
30 for 30.
which was awesome, by the way. Shout out to that. That I actually still have it saved on my DVR.
Yeah, if you're a
But
wrestling fan and you haven't seen
Oh,
that,
you have
jump
to.
on it.
Dude,
Jump on it.
I've actually had my mom watch, and she
Yes.
was like,
Yeah.
my mom and my girlfriend. My mom she's a little bit on the cusp, because she came through to the Survivor Series pay-per-view party that we did, and she was actually at the table, like, clapping, watching the screen, like, oh my god. But my girl, who's like not into it, and I give her credit, she gave it a shot and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But she watched it, and she was like, wow.
It shows you a whole other side of Ric Flair.
Yeah.
But that made me want to watch his final match.
Yeah.
And I think him and Shawn put on a hell of a show.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you didn't get goosebumps in that match, if you didn't want Flair to just that one more win, you really, although I think we all knew what was happening. We
Yeah,
knew
of
that
course.
Flair was being put
Yeah.
out. But those two men did a hell of a job.
And if you didn't cry during the "I love you, I'm sorry,"
Oh,
like
Yeah, that
you
was-
have
that was-
no soul.
But here's the thing. Okay, so my love for wrestling is kind of all over the place, because I love the in-ring product is one thing, but it's the production on a TV level that's another. And it's like, for them to catch that I love you at
Yeah.
that perfect moment, I mean, it's easy for that to get screwed up.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
so it's like, it kind of shows like, damn, yo, they really like made sure that they went over that match and everything.
It's like a Broadway show.
Yeah.
It's a Broadway production.
Yeah.
If you've read Flair's book with him and Charlotte,
I haven't read it yet.
I've read it.
meaning
It's
to
pretty good. That whole match with Shawn Michaels.
Well-
Shawn Michaels literally told Flair, I'm doing this. You shut up.
Yeah.
You do as I say. The entire match.
I
Yeah.
remember an interview with Shawn Michaels, or I feel like either an interview or audio, but it was something where Shawn Michaels, I remember listening to the soundbite that Shawn Michaels had said he wrote something, like wrote out the script for it, and he told Ric Flair, don't you screw this up, like make sure you stay in character or whatever, and he got on him, like, don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
And it was just a beautiful match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
which
know.
you got some balls to tell Ric Flair, like, stick to the script.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, but I think at that point of his career, it wasn't like Rick was like in the driver's seat. It wasn't like he was a Ric Flair of
It
old.
wasn't, but if you read the
Right.
book, he was not ready to retire. Vince told him, we're
Yeah.
retiring you, but Flair was against it. He
Yeah.
did not want to retire.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then he went to TNA.
Yeah.
and we know how that went.
Shout out to Dixie Carter.
The only good the only good thing about him in TNA was us getting Jay Lethal.
Oh
Yes.
my God!
promo.
It is the best
Oh,
YouTube
man.
video ever.
That's
You-
my line. That's my line.
You can't do me. You can't do me.
No, but I love when Ric Flair goes, mirror, mirror on the wall.
He said, "Look right here in the front row." The hip thrust was like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
That-
And then the woo off.
Yes.
Oh my God, the
the
woo-off.
woo-off. The woo-off was so good.
Poor Taz didn't know where to go on commentary.
Oh yeah, they were
That
totally
was really
clueless
good.
on
And
commentary.
And a young AJ Styles in that ring, too.
That's right. Yeah. with no facial hair and short hair. Yeah, that's
You
right.
forget AJ Styles was in TNA forever and a day.
Yeah.
it's
With a
true.
better haircut than he does
And
now.
he-
I don't know what's going on with that hair. but
He had pretty good matches with Samoa Joe.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
TNA wasn't a total flop. There have been some good things coming out of it.
TNA had a lot of gems, but it was like they could never make a complete piece of jewelry. It was like they had the pieces.
She doesn't have the budget of Vince McMahon. Dixie
Yeah.
Carter just does not. She doesn't
Yeah,
have
but-
the wherewithal either.
I mean, yeah, I think it's more the wherewithal because I mean, you may not have the budget, but you can still do a lot with little. And I felt like they always kept on dropping the ball with directions where they were going. Especially, it was, to me, it was always like production of it. The production of it, it was like they had too many highs and lows that, you know, when you're watching a show, you have to treat it as a show, not just individual matches, because you want to take people on a journey throughout the entire show. That's why I appreciate a lot of stuff that WWE does, because like think about, say, WrestleMania 30. You know, you start off with that match with Daniel Bryan and Triple H. That gets him, you know, he overcomes it. But then you had, if I remember correctly, there was a couple of matches where the heel went over in the middle. So it's like you have to take him on a journey where you're taking him up and down, and then you kind of end it on a high note. Because wrestling to me is the one form of entertainment where you have to antagonize your audience just as much as you entertain.
Yeah, but I think everyone checked out in that WrestleMania when the streak was over. There was a lot of people that left the arena.
Yeah, there was. I mean,
no, I do see what you're saying, but with that WrestleMania, there was a big high, and then
Where was the place you used to do the WrestleMania, the viewing parties? It was over on 10th Avenue.
oh, you're talking about Mimo's on 50th and 10th
I
Avenue.
walked out of Mimo's. I grabbed my book and walked out. When the streak was over, I stood up and walked out in a very dramatic fashion. Although whenever I walk, it's a dramatic fashion. But I was really highly pissed off that night. Like I stormed out and I went back to Jersey. I was
Yo,
like,
you know
son
what?
of a bitch!
You know what? I remember that shit.
I just couldn't.
I remember you saying, "Yo, I'm out."
Yeah.
Yeah, he just came up to me like, "Yo, I'm out. I can't watch anymore."
I took a picture of me like with this mouth gave it open and I just wrote N and then a bunch of O's like no.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I mean, if
Yeah,
they
you
were
weren't the
gonna-
only one. There was about 5 other people that said, "Yo, fuck this, I'm out."
that's
First of all, it
crazy.
came out of left field.
Yeah.
But to
It did.
watch that, to witness that, and then I just didn't understand how we just went back to him then winning at WrestleMania. It was like, okay, the streak ending should have been his career being ended.
Yeah,
Why then make him beat Bray Wyatt? Why let him beat Shane McMahon to then have Roman Reigns do it all over again? Like, why didn't we just do this the first time?
So, like I just said, you have to antagonize your crowd just as much as you entertain your crowd.
it's true.
It just made Bray Wyatt look bad.
So you leaving early that night, mission accomplished.
Yeah, that's true.
I stormed out.
Yeah.
I don't even think I paid the check. I just stormed out.
Yeah, there was a couple people that didn't pay their check, so I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, there,
I was irate.
yeah. No, there was a couple people that they just spazzed out and just bounced. Like,
Crazy.
you know, they took it like it was almost as if Vince literally punched them in their mouth, like came to Mimo's, punched them in their mouth, and then left. And they were like, I cannot take this anymore. And I'm out.
It was the. Whew.
Yeah,
It was bad.
I was shocked. I was speechless.
And
I
then-
was completely speechless when I saw that.
Remember
and I
the
was
black
so
guy in the
shocked.
front row? Like, didn't they
Yeah.
meme him for years?
I met
The-
him
They
at
still
SummerSlam.
they still meme him.
I met him at SummerSlam, and I was like, "You're the Undertaker guy." He was like, "Yes, you want to take a selfie?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I do."
Oh my God!
Fuck
that
yeah, you're
poor kid.
famous.
Yeah, no, the guy had a shirt. He had his own
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He goes, "I'm the Undertaker street guy." I think
Yeah.
that's what it is.
yeah,
That picture is iconic.
yeah. That there's still
Yeah.
memes. As a matter of fact, memes and gifs, because you know how like you in your cell phone now you know like on my iPhone and even on Facebook you can actually do like gif comments.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like I just typed in wrestling because I was sending something to a friend and that dude came up like 5 different times
Wow.
and with like different things in the background. Like people started getting creative and like putting stuff around them.
Yeah. My
So-
boyfriend will text me like, "Hey, I did the dishes," and I'll send him that gift.
Okay, good one. Good one.
Wow. I'm so glad my lady doesn't follow wrestling because I definitely would have gotten that shit a couple of times. Like this past weekend I was cleaning and she's like, "Really? Oh, thank you." I'm like, You're welcome.
Guess that's the first time for everything, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is somebody coming over that you didn't tell me about? I'm like, no.
Was there any other time that we were that shocked besides the streak ending? Did you guys ever have that, that oh my god, that happened moment?
Yes. Kane's debut.
Okay.
I-
Ripping the door off the Hell in the Cell?
Yes, because I was pretty young when that happened, and at that point I was very fearful of The Undertaker, but I still loved him. Absolutely loved him. And when that happened, I was stuck on the couch. I could not move. I could not say anything. My mom kept poking me, like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And all I could do was just shake my head. I just couldn't believe it. And that was the moment where it was a shock value, but also like, this is real to me, 100%.
I got one for you. Eric Bischoff showing up on Raw.
Ah, yes.
That.
I've never seen an audience recoil awe at the same, like when Vince hugs him, it was just like that sort of, like when you see your grandparents make out, you're just like, I love you, but ew.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
asshole like just shot up to my stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an asshole shooting moment.
I-
Wow,
I-
I've never thought I'd say that on a podcast. Wow.
well,
See, I'm glad it wasn't me. She said everyone was expecting me to talk about assholes. See, look, it was the Blue-Haired Diva.
First one in.
hey, cross that off your bucket list. So, so shocking moments. All right, so our shocking moments. So is that your shocking moment is Undertaker?
Sort of, yes. My shocking moment would probably be Foley versus Undertaker, Hell in the Cell. I've
that's-
never seen a person coming off a cell, going through a table. That, to this day, I still I can't believe Foley survived that, you know?
Yeah.
You know
And
what?
JR's
can still
commentary,
walk after
you
that.
know?
That one, and the funny thing is that one not so much, but the one through the top of the ring.
Yeah, the whole match,
Yeah.
it just kept getting progressively worse.
Yeah, it definitely did. It was
And
it was.
JR's commentary made it that much worse.
By God, he got a family.
My God, he's broken in half. Stop the damn match. Like, all right, JR, relax.
And the tooth growing through like his upper
That's the
lip,
thing.
dude.
And I remember looking at it the first time saying, "Is that a booger?"
No, I thought it was like a napkin.
I thought it was his thumbtack. I thought that's what it was. That was up there. It's actually his tooth.
Yeah, and it was his tooth that went through his upper lip.
That was amazing.
If you ever see an interview with the Undertaker, he said, "I thought I killed him."
Yeah.
When he went off, he said, "I thought you." He told Foley, "I thought you were dead."
See, I thought like me, just because, I'm just automatically assuming that everything's freaking planned, and so I thought the table was gimmicked. That it was, to a degree that maybe some cushioning underneath, even though that's just still hard. I'm not saying that it's easy by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought the going through the top of the cell was worse. And even he said that a lot of people in the back thought that appreciated that one more than the off the cage. But looking at it again, it does look really bad. But Shawn Michaels had a similar bump as well, so that's why you see it with Shawn Michaels and you see it with Mick Foley. That's what, because remember when Shawn Michaels went off the
Well, he came off the side of it, like he was dangling off the side, and then falls out.
Oh, that's
No one had ever
right.
been
That's right.
tossed. And then
Homeboy
Foley's
was
like
tossed,
300
yeah,
some
yeah.
odd pounds.
Yeah.
And the Taker was like, "Okay, you want to do this?
Well,
We're
that
gonna do this."
wasn't. Nobody knew about that, right? Like that wasn't planned.
Just Taker and
like
Foley.
it was just them. It was them.
Just
two.
Taker
Oh, it was
Foley,
just
yeah.
them. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had that all planned. and
Foley
I
told
think
him, "I want to go off the cage," and
Yeah.
Undertaker was like, "Are you sure?"
Because
He's like, "Yeah, I want to do it."
tossed
Alright.
him out, and JR and
The King.
King said that they didn't even expect it
Yeah.
because they didn't move. If you look back, they didn't move from their seats.
Shit,
He
I'm gonna
just
go
got
back. I'm gonna go
tossed.
back and watch that shit tonight.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I gotta see that again. I haven't seen it in a while. Like I saw it years ago, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
It
Wow.
was King of the Ring, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like '98.
So what was your oh my god moment?
In the ring, damn, it's kind of hard because I've seen some moments that I've just been like, oh shit. I don't know why. Just thinking of just us talking about an oh my god moment, I go back to watching WCW, NWA, and seeing Ric Flair. It was either I think it was either Ric Flair or Arn Anderson grating somebody's face against the floor.
Oh.
Yeah, it was some angle. I forgot who it was, but I just remember going, "Oh shit!" Like, and for a long time saying, "Yeah, that shit's not fake, man." But it's like it was such a crazy, the imagery of it was just so vicious. Because it's one thing that you're doing something in the ring and it's a really hard bump, but that's just really just straight up vicious to just grade somebody's face on the floor.
If you watch anything with Abdullah the Butcher,
Abdullah the Butcher, oh my
Terry
god,
Funk, wrapping himself in barbed wire, he's like easy and crazy. You got that shit right.
Just any Terry Funk and Cactus Jack match.
Yeah, Abdullah the Butcher was ridiculously vicious.
Taking a fork to someone said, although New Jack, he does get rather vicious as well. Like sometimes you can't.
Yeah, but if you've seen Abdullah the Butcher, seeing New Jack is like, oh, okay, I've seen this before. It's no joke, but I mean, still, it's kind of like, damn.
Some stuff from Japan gets rather brutal too. Like I've seen some video.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah,
light bulbs and.
Yeah, there's this one. There's a list on YouTube, and it was a New Japan wrestling match where they were a match in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by sharks, and I think the ropes were made of barbed wire.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you hear about this, Sonny?
I gotta look that up.
No.
I read about that one.
All right, so you know what?
I gotta look that up. And I think every 10 minutes there was an explosion in the water as well. It was something wild.
Sounds like an episode of Inspector Gadget. My God. Exploding sharks.
I feel like the ref is Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
Laser sharks. And the winner gets $10 million.
My word.
Jesus, yeah,
that's like the Hunger Games or some shit.
Only the strong survive.
Yeah. I have to look that up and send it to you guys and maybe put a link onto the podcast because that was insane.
If it's on YouTube, we're gonna basically add that to our this is something we like playlist because we're gonna start adding
shark match.
So this podcast is going to be on SoundCloud as well as an audio version on the YouTube, on the Yep I Like Wrestling YouTube page, as well as we're gonna add some other features. We're gonna do some Yep on the Street, which is what the segment is gonna be coined, where we're gonna just talk to wrestling fans on the street, and interviews as well with different people that's all wrestling related, whether it be indie wrestlers, signed wrestlers. Signed wrestlers meaning to a major promotion, or even people of notable people that happen to be wrestling fans. Because there's a lot of people out there that you really don't know that they like wrestling.
Oh yes, for sure.
It's crazy how you come across certain people and like, oh, that's a wrestler. Yeah, yep, I like wrestling.
We're like a secret society.
Yeah,
we are.
So being a wrestling fan. What is being a wrestling fan to you?
Respecting the product. That's basically we don't use the word it's fake. We don't, wrestling fans don't say that. We know what it is. Respecting the art of it, respecting these people who have back problems, who can't walk, who can't remember, all for this quote unquote fake sport, you know?
Yeah.
That's what being a true fan is.
Yeah, and I think also it's just remembering to have fun and remembering that we are all in this together because there's so many other people that are into, real sports. So, I don't know, just that. I mean, I love, seeing a random dude on the subway with a wrestling shirt and I just too sweet him out of nowhere. And he does it without hesitation. That's the one thing that I love about being a wrestling fan is that no matter what, anybody from any different backgrounds, if they're Republican, Democrat, any race, we still all get together and we love each other and we all still mark the fuck out when anything happens.
Yeah, that is a pretty special feeling. Example was recently around Halloween. I actually was going to a party. It wasn't even a Halloween party. It was actually a couple of days before Halloween. But there was random Halloween parties going on, a couple of days before. And I saw some dude dressed as a random wrestler. I was trying to remember which one it was, but it was matter of fact, it wasn't even random. It was actually Cactus Jack, but
bang bang
because he was wearing a flannel shirt. And he was wearing, so it was almost like
he was Foley.
He was Foley. So if you didn't know who he was trying to be, you'd just be like, oh, that was just like a lumberjack, or he's just in his regular attire. But I stopped and was like, Foley, right? And dude stopped and literally, and the smile on his face was just like, yes, you got me. You know who I am. So it's almost like that, brotherhood, sisterhood thing where, when we identify each other as somewhere, it's almost
one knows
like
another.
Yeah, it's like a fraternity sorority type of situation.
Yeah, it's like a better cult.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're like cooler Trekkies. That's what we are.
Yeah.
We're like cooler version of Trekkies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a Trekkie. I'm a Star Wars nut. But anyway, that's another story.
I've not watched either one, so I've never seen a Star Trek. Never seen a Star Wars film. Never, not one.
And there's people lining up with pitchforks.
Yeah,
outside.
I know.
So,
As if they weren't there already.
So this is Teddy's first and possibly last time.
Have I been fired that quickly?
On this
Damn, I didn't even
podcast?
piss anyone off yet. Jeez.
Because you never watched one.
Never watched one.
Dude, you
Or
like my
Lord of the Rings. Never.
Dude, you're like my dentist, bro.
Just
My dentist
It's
is always
okay. He watches wrestling, so it's fine. It's fine. Wrestling community.
only
What did
thing
we just
saving
say?
me.
What did we just say? We accept each other.
okay. All right, I won't cast him out.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
I hate to have to wear a scarlet W, for wrestling. Yeah.
Speaking of casting someone out, can't believe that someone didn't like The Last Jedi.
No, I didn't like it.
All right, we're gonna have this is gonna be a whole nother conversation another time because I have issues with both of you already, and we just started this shit.
And this
Next
will
week
the
it'll be
last
Sonny
one.
talking to himself. Yes. He's had enough.
And I'll be talking so much shit about both of you. One doesn't watch Star Wars, the other one freaking didn't like The Last Jedi. I
Gonna
can't
be 30
believe this
minutes
shit.
of him talking to himself.
Yeah, ranting and raving on Alex and Teddy.
Those ungrateful bastards. Yeah, that's how you have to start it.
So, this has been episode 0. Hope you guys get to know a little bit of who we are.
This was fun. Nice to meet you, Alex. Nice to meet you.
Amazing
Let's do
to
this
meet
again.
you.
You
And
know,
I'll try to ugly it down a bit next time I see
No,
you.
it's okay. I've gotten used to you. Like
that's what
I
I
like
thought,
it. I like it. I like it.
so she's gonna ugly it down a little bit next week. Okay.
Which is just not going to be that hard.
I have very low self-esteem. I only like to be surrounded by ugly people. Yes.
So wait, is that why you've been friends with me for so
Well,
long?
I didn't want to say it out loud, but
Son
I
of a
mean,
bitch.
I guess cat's out of the bag.
Breaking kayfabe right now.
Shout out to the cat. You remember her? Speaking of cat fights, see how I wrapped it around? Then we were right back to cat fights. See, I'm perfect for this podcast. Shout out to Stacey Carter.
You know what?
Yes,
The cat
Miss
was.
Kitty. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty,
Oh,
kitty.
you know what? Deborah. I had a thing for Deborah.
Oh, who did the
I had a thing for Deborah.
too.
We
What
all
do you mean?
did.
Oh, okay.
Or as I like to
She
call
made me
her.
question my sexuality big time.
She made me question my sexuality big time. Or as I like to call Deborah, Lana 0.1. Like she was the first Lana with the
yeah.
parachute,
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And the other one that I was in. Damn, I'm about to break down a lot of shit. So Stacy Kibler had a huge thing for.
Oh, love Stacey. I had a full-size poster of Stacey Keebler in my bedroom.
I want to measure Teddy's legs.
Hers are
against
longer than
Stacey.
mine.
Are they?
My friends did it. When she do
Well,
yeah.
listen, when you do that, you can do that later when I'm done. I really don't want to know.
She had 38 and a half inch legs, so of course I had to go measure mine, and mine just came in at 37. I was like, damn! Well, that whole summer I was like, yes, these 37 and a half inch legs. No one cared. No one cared.
Oh, these old Stacey Cleavers.
Jesus
No one cared.
Christ.
But yeah, Stacey Keebler.
Yeah, Stacy Keebler. But I actually liked her more when she was in WCW.
Miss Hancock?
Yeah.
That's a fun name to say.
Oh, yeah.
Hancock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a name and an action.
With her power suits, yes. Shout out to Stacey Keebler. She has a baby now. She's a mom. She's a MILF. Yeah.
Do you think that she'll come back to the Royal Rumble?
I don't know. She kind of like stepped away, being a Clooney chick, and then it's almost like kind of taking it's almost like taking a real huge step back. Even though I have no idea what she's doing.
She did date George Clooney.
She
So,
did date
yeah,
George
that's
Clooney.
the-
And for a minute,
That's
like
the-
she went, like Clooney
For
took
a
it to the
while.
Clooney took it to the Oscars.
yeah.
You know,
that's-
she
and
was the
that's a
one right
huge
before the
accomplishment.
she was the one right before the wife.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
right.
worst position. You hate to be the one before the one who got the ring. I'm telling you, it was hot in Casa de Keebler that day when she saw that shit on Entertainment Tonight. She's like, that dirty motherfucker. Yes. Honey, you could have boiled an egg on Miss Keebler. She was so hot that day. Like, son of a bitch. I had to suck that old dick forever, and she gets that ring. Oh, it was hot in Casa de Keebler, let me tell you.
I just imagine her like throwing her martini glass. And
She was pissed. She was pissed. She was tight, as my nephew would say. As the children say these days. She was tight. She was tight. She was heated. That's my urban lingo. Living in Newark, that's all I've learned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stacy.
Okay.
So who do you think will make an appearance in the Women's Royal Rumble? Or who do you want to? Better yet, who do you want to?
Trish and Lita. I mean, I think we'd all love to see one of those two.
Yeah, that's
Can Lita go though? Because what about
her
that neck? Yeah, that neck.
Right?
Oh.
If it's a one night only thing, I
Yeah.
feel like maybe we could push the neck just a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, Kurt Angle hurt his neck and then he came back with a shield. So if it's a one night only thing where she just came back for the Rumble, I would love to see it.
I mean,
Maybe
maybe
the Divas Battle Royale where Sonny literally walked into the ring and she was the first one eliminated. Like, just
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
could do
you-
that with Lita. Like, make her like the third person.
No.
Just
see,
hearing her music hit, I think, would be a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
pop.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, oh man, her music hits, but if either she comes out first or if Trish comes out first, to have them stand in the middle of the ring and face
Yeah,
down.
that would be good.
Could you imagine?
Oh,
the
you mean like
energy
them
in
being
that
the
arena?
first two?
That would be
No,
awesome.
not the first two. I'm saying like there's a few girls in the ring, but they're all like kind of knocked out, like hanging around in the corner.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then like Lita comes out and Trish like turns around and they're like face to face in the middle of the ring and they're like about to like hit each other and somebody, maybe Nia Jax, I don't know, comes out of nowhere and maybe eliminates the both of them.
That would be
Oh,
a
okay.
good
But that
shot.
the energy in that ring would be amazing. Or even if Mickie James is already in the ring and Trish's music hits and they face each other in the middle of the ring, I feel like that'd be a good one too.
Yeah, that would be pretty dope.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of moments where a lot of people are expecting those moments to see like those old rivals come back.
Yeah.
I know Victoria is going to be in town. She's fighting in the House of Hardcore, so maybe she might be make an appearance as well.
I think she could still go.
I mean, hey, you
She
got
still goes. She wrestles. She's going to wrestle in the House of Hardcore, so she could still go. I can
Shout
see
out
her
to
coming back for
Lisa
sure.
Marie Varon. Okay.
okay.
Who else?
Who else?
I'm guessing a lot of ruthless aggression divas, like
I would
maybe
love
Maurice.
to see. You know who always had another thing for it. I'm basically like answering this question throughout the entire podcast. I always had a thing for Gail Kim.
Okay, yeah. She
Something
never
about
quite found the tread that she needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was nice to look at.
Gil Kim eliminated herself during a battle royal.
She did. Wasn't she with the tying of the shoe, or she jumped over the? Yeah.
No, she just like jumped out. She was like, "I'm out of here."
Yeah.
As soon as it started.
She did that, yeah.
Yeah?
Well, that was like she was getting tired of WWE,
Yes.
and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
she was almost on the way out. Do you think any of the Mae Young women might? Mae Young classic women?
My God.
Not Mae Young.
Yeah. For a second, I was like, Mae Young's dead.
Mae Young. I love anything Mae Young did. I
If
loved.
her hand just like sticks out of the grave like
God.
the Undertaker.
I would love that.
By the way, because we have that Mark Henry interview, Mark Henry told a freaking awesome story about Mae Young.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
I loved Mae.
Yeah, it was
Anything with Mae.
pretty good. It
The
was
Miss
pretty-
Royal Rumble with the breast. It's still. Oh my God.
Oh my God, yeah.
My nephews and I watched that at least 1,000 times. It was the funniest thing ever.
All right, real random story. So I had bought a costume for one of my parties that I did back in the day, and it was the Shocker. You know, one in the pink, two in the stink. Oh, actually, no, it's the other way around. Two in the pink, one in the stink.
Well, it depends on what day it is, but go ahead. I mean,
So yeah, so you know, so anyway, so I had that costume. I remember, going to the club, bartender's like, "Hey, so who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm the Shocker." And she's like, "But what's the Shocker?" And I'm like, and I just do the hand movement, and I start going, turning my hand like my costume, and as I turn it sideways, and I motion it forward and backwards, she went, "Oh my God, you're so nasty!" I was like, "Yeah, that's why I'm the Shocker."
some people just need a diagram.
So the funny thing is that I still had that costume, and then about a year or two later, that's when I started getting into doing like more and more of the wrestling viewing parties, and I was like, we did one for Hell in a Cell, which was right around Halloween, so we were doing a costume party as well, and I said, wait a minute, I I got that soccer costume. Let me get the soccer costume out of storage. I basically opened up the entire hand, and I became Hand, and I wore that as my costume at the event.
That's good.
And people were cracking up because they were like, people that didn't get it was like, oh, I'm Mae Young and Mark Henry's kid.
Good times.
Yeah,
I just remember the reveal that she was pregnant. Me and my friends, we were watching it, and it was just the funniest thing.
When
I'm pregnant. It was hilarious.
When the hand came out and they just said, give Mae Young a hand.
Yeah.
And they all started.
Patterson throwing up. Gerald Briscoe throwing up.
I was throwing up.
When they all looked in the camera and just started clapping, that shit was the freaking best payoff.
Yeah. The payoff was stupid, but the reveal, and then the Dudleys putting her through a table, and then JR, that's a pregnant woman. Hilarious.
And the funniest thing was like Bubba's face, just like the blanked out.
What is it? The euphoric, orgasmic trance of Bubba Ray Dudley. Oh, God. You cannot get those moments back.
No, not at all.
You can't. We can never do that.
That woman's 80 years old. For God's sake, she's pregnant. Really, JR? Really? You said those two things together?
Is she 80
she
or
has a baby.
Yeah. All you see her is in this Christmas sweater, and he power bombs the shit out of her. There he is, and that orgasmic trance of his. Damn you, Bubba Ray! Like, oh God, best moments ever.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that was such a great moment.
So good.
Damn, I think I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go home and watch
Did you have a neck brace too?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Oh, that's right.
She did. So shout out to Mae Young. That's
Shout
a real
out,
one.
yes, that's the
Rest
original
in peace
diva
to
right
Mae
there.
Young.
That's OG
Yes.
right there.
Yeah, she was. I mean, damn, it's a shame that she came along in the time that she did. Because if she would have came along now, she would have put everybody to. She would have put everybody to shame.
Yeah.
Because she was. I mean, to do that at 80,
She
imagine
was a
what.
badass.
Imagine what she could have done when she was younger.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She was a badass.
Yeah, man. But all right. So I think we're gonna say so long on that note. And this is a taste. This is what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff, but it's all gonna be about wrestling. So on behalf of myself, my name is Sonny Sofrito. Thank you so much. Say so long. Say.
This is how we do it. So long. Farewell. This is Alex, the blue-haired diva.
Ah, yes. And Teddy, the greatest general manager of I Like Wrestling. I'll see you next time.
And thanks a lot. Thanks for joining. Please subscribe. ILW on YouTube, SoundCloud, and you can find us everywhere else. You can check us out on the website, ILW.com, ILikewrestling.com. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.